Okay, gang, we are on Module 6, more evaluation. So I know I've been hinting at evaluation all the way from last term because evaluation can give folks a real headache if they don't plan properly. But I think I've been planting the seed and you guys are set up nicely to think about your evaluation. In the discussion, I want you guys to kick around ideas, talk about your formative and summative evaluations. When we talk about formative, it's a little less formal. It's more about the process evaluation. So formative can actually begin even before, you could start now, what's working, what's not working. And the summative is all about the numbers. And it can be qualitative or quantitative. So you can think of that in two different ways. We got formative, we got summative. Formative also includes process, and they kind of go across each other. And then summative has several parts. It has the impact and the outcome. We will be able to measure impact, but looking at outcomes, sometimes that doesn't happen for a year or longer, and we might not be able to get some of the outcome numbers. A lot of times when you look at studies that look at things for 30 years, like how can they do that? Well, they probably look back on it. They didn't really plan or start their whole project saying, I want to measure from 30 years. They look at year 1, and then it's year 2, and then 5 and 15 and such. So think about what you're trying to measure. Think about those measurement points, because your assignment is going to be a table. And I gave you a little example in there, going back to your objectives. Well-written objectives make your life easy. And I told you this a little bit earlier, but have your objective. What were you trying to achieve? How do we measure it? So I need to know your specific objective or aim. How are you going to measure it? So if you're looking at increasing the knowledge of your participants, then your measure is knowledge. If you want to increase awareness, it's awareness. But how is that knowledge or awareness? What instrument are you going to use? And we talked a little bit about this. That's why I've been making you look up all those articles that are kind of similar to yours. Not because I want you to copy someone's project, but a lot of times you can have some justification. So if someone did a certain protocol or used a certain measure, you could say this was used numerous times in previous studies to give you some justification for that measure. So the instrument you want to look at, and if it's an already established instrument, wonderful. If it's not an already established instrument, we can, as we call the researcher designed knowledge test. You could make up your own test, which is kind of hard to make up, but then you have to do your own Cronbach alpha and figure out its own reliability. So it's a little bit more, a couple more steps in there. And then what kind of analysis? So you're going to have to brush off the cobwebs from your master's program and figure out, is this going to be inferential or is this going to be descriptive? Those are basics. Those are very basics. But if you know exactly that you're going to run a t-test because you're doing simple, you're not going in between variables, that you just have two points, pre-post, or a comparison and a intervention, then it would be a simple t-test as an inferential analysis. So start rolling up your sleeves. This kind of makes your mind hurt a little bit, but it's good practice. That's why we've been trying to set up this program, that you guys had the end in mind. How are we going to measure? How are we going to say we're going to be successful? And that's kind of what we've started from the start of the of these classes. So if you need help, give me a ring, shoot me a quick text or an email, and we can set up a time to chat.